Am I the a-hole for telling my parents that if they won't tell me the truth, I'll assume the worst of them? So my 14F family totally exploded while I was on spring break 2 weeks ago. I went on a trip with my grandparents and came back to my mom moved out and a serious sit-down talk about them divorcing. It's not exactly a surprise because they've both been acting weird and shady for a while, but that's not what I was expecting to come back to, and they could have let me unpack first at least. They asked me if I had any questions and I asked them which one cheated because that was my first thought. They got super uncomfortable and said that the reasons between them were private. I said, not when it means I suddenly lost my family over it, and they owe me at least some reason that this is happening and we don't love each other anymore. Doesn't cut it. You don't just stop loving someone for no reason. That's dumb. So what? They said that was all I needed to know and we need to talk about how the living situation was going to work and everything. I told them that I don't want to live with either of them if they're going to be like that. Everyone has been mad since then, and my mom came over to talk it out last night. They still don't want to tell me why. I told them both that if they were going to hide stuff, I'll just make up my own worst case and go with that. Since mom left, it can all be her fault. Since it's her fault, I won't live with her or go see her. She got upset and said that was unfair and it wasn't her fault. I told her to give me the real reason then, or just deal with it. My dad said I was out of line, and I said that it can all be his fault then and same deal. That started an argument between the two of them, but I'm holding my own. Pretty sure at least one of them will crack and tell me what happened soon so I can decide how I feel about it. I don't need explicit details, but a simple, someone cheated, or mom is a secret lesbian, don't tell anyone, or we've both really changed a lot and don't want the same things would help. If one of them did something wrong, I want to know. If they won't admit or explain why there are no villains, they can both be the villains. I had to talk to my school counselor today, and she said that it's totally understandable, but playing them against each other is going to hurt everyone. In the comments, YTA, but you're clearly just a kid who desperately needs therapy to process and understand this and figure out what it means. Your parents are doing a great job handling the divorce thus far, so I hope they continue to do great and get you into therapy ASAP. If they're on top of things, they were looking into this before they even announced their divorce. OP. We already have to go see someone all together this week, and I told them I'm not saying anything to the counselor because I didn't mess this up. They did, so they need the counseling, not me. I don't have any other questions. If they can't answer this one, then I can't trust either of them, so nothing else matters. I don't want a relationship with them if one of them did something bad to the other. If they both caused it, I want to go live with my grandma instead of either of them. Can't trust people who act shady and hide important things. 1000% okay with torching relationships with people who lie and hide things from me. If my mom is a lesbian, that's completely fair. I'd want to know why she stayed married for like 20 years, but like, that's not anyone's fault. If my dad fell out of love with my mom, I'd want to know why. Yeah, I'm gonna have some side eye for that because it's a little bit of a douchebag move after wasting like 20 years of someone's life and getting me mixed up in it, but as long as he hasn't been running around with other people behind her back, that's like not unreasonable. I'm not going to be content with either of them now because I know they're concealing something, and that's not acceptable. Even if it's nobody's fault, they could say that instead of not responding. The only reason to hide is if there's something worth hiding. If I'm going to endure the pain no matter what, I'm dragging them with me. If they gave me some indication of why they fell out of love, sure. We fell out of love because we're extremely different now than when we got married. We fell out of love because we have really different values and can't agree. We fell out of love because we just really despise living together. We fell out of love because we hurt each other too badly to continue. All those would be fine. I'm not stupid because I'm 14. There's always a reason people stop liking each other, even if it's dumb. It's a reason. I don't have to know everything, but I need a general direction. If my dad really hurt my mom enough to make her leave, I will eat him alive. If my mom hurt my dad enough for him to kick her out, big same. If it's just typical bullshit, then they can tell me that and leave me out of it, and I'll figure out what I want to do later. Based on what I've found, they planned the move out for more than a month. This wasn't a last-minute decision. My mom's apartment was rented 3 months ago. I have the entire email chain about it between her and her new landlord, and another set of DMs about it between her and her parents, setting up the trip to get me out of town for the move. My grandparents also lied for the entire trip to keep up the deception. My dad has lied to his job on multiple occasions, and I have the Expedia receipts and texts to prove it, also looking very much like they're both cheaters. I'm just researching the timeline and partners now, and finding additional supporting evidence so they can't claim it's untrue. Right now, they can come clean that they both fucked up massively, and we can figure out if I can trust them again or good riddance to the trash. On her grandparents lying to her, I asked them if my parents were thinking about divorcing during the trip, because there was definitely a vibe before I left. They knew about the divorce. They set my mom up with her lawyer. They told me that nobody was getting a divorce, and to relax. They have less culpability than my parents, because it doesn't seem like they know why my parents are splitting up so far. If they apologize, I'll probably accept it. Well, if they don't, we'll see what happens. About how she found her parents' secrets. I fix my parents' stuff a lot, so I know they both use the same couple of passwords for everything and they don't tech well. My dad was drunk and asleep on the couch last night because he had has been a lot lately. My mom doesn't live here anymore. I just had to cross-reference a few things, copy off some stuff, and put the tablet back before continuing on my own machine. It's not fancy or techie, but it was enough to find out what I wanted to know. Edit. Okay, I'm the asshole. That's okay. I did some digging on my own tonight, and I know pretty much what happened now. I don't feel bad about being an AH to AHs. Thanks. Edit number 2. People keep asking me what happened. Both my parents are cheaters. My mom is stalking her boyfriend and his wife and trying to break up their marriage. My dad is screwing one of his 17-year-old athletes and other people. I got the receipts and got help to report the 17-year-old thing because that is not even remotely okay. It crashed and burned on him on Friday and I haven't heard from him since then. I worked out stuff with my grandparents and they believe me that my mom is lying to them. I'm living with them right now and they're figuring things out with my other grandma to make a permanent plan. My mom is mad that I wouldn't go to her place after the blow up, but I've already told her that I don't want to talk to her for a while. The cops said I could stay where I am at the moment. That's where we are now. It sucks, but it would be worse if I didn't know and had to keep on living with them with all this crap going on. I'm glad I didn't listen to some people here and just let it drop. I'm glad to know that all the weird stuff I've noticed over the last year was real and not made up like my parents told me. I'm glad my dad isn't going to be able to be gross toward his players anymore. I'm okay being TA for that reason alone. Update. This more of an exercise for me so that I can get my thoughts straight before I make some decisions. If you're here to yell at me about being an AH from my Am I the A-hole post, today is not the day and I am not the one. I accept the judgment. I just don't feel bad about it now. If you can be cool with your feedback, I'm open to that. I do listen and consider reasonable advice, but I've had a stressful week, so constructive replies only, please. I won't be humoring aggressive trolls. To bring everything up to date, family therapy was a fiasco. I told the counselor that I didn't want to participate and I would rather stay in the lobby. After she tried to convince me to stay in the room, she let me go back out. My parents told me I was grounded if I didn't stay. The therapist talked to them alone for a while and then we left. I am not grounded. They are big mad. I still have to go with them weekly, but I don't have to stay in the room. I have to go to an individual counselor next week and I'll see what happens when I refuse treatment. Hopefully, I won't have to go back. I've decided to keep the contents of the dossier I gathered closed for now until I can weigh a couple of points of moral conflict. There are illegal things going on, but busting it open could hurt people who don't deserve it. It might keep some other people from getting hurt though. Depending on how my parents react, there's a not zero chance it could get me physically hurt unless I can do it in a way to be out of reach. I want to have private, in-person conversations with all my grandparents and maybe my rabbi first. My mom finally broke down last night as I expected, but only confessed to my dad's cheating. I am completely done with both of them. I was already planning to spend a month with each set of grandparents this summer, so my parents agreed to let my home base be with my grandma until fall. I'll be leaving once my exams are finished. At least my grandma is happy about it. I spoke to my other grandparents after Shabbat dinner and told them that I knew they had deceived me. They apologized, and we had a conversation. I'm staying over with them this weekend, and we'll sort some things out tomorrow. This week, I've realized that some people get really angry when I resist being controlled. Being a good kid and doing what everyone has always told me are the right things doesn't matter unless I stay quiet and do what I'm told. I'm not going to stop doing good, but I feel pretty done with staying quiet and obeying. A lot of people said I would regret knowing the truth. I don't. Happy isn't the word. I'm exhausted, deeply disappointed, and angry. Now I know who I'm dealing with, and I feel better knowing that I wasn't imagining things like my parents said. Short version. Both my parents are cheating. Both are mad at each other over it. It wasn't like an open situation. They just cheated. My dad pressured one of his partners into having an abortion last year. One of the people he's cheating with is under 18. He's doing stuff that's going to land him on some kind of registry and probably in jail if he gets caught. My mom is trying to break up her boyfriend's marriage because she thinks he'll move in with her afterward. She's done some really desperate and crazy stalker things, and it's frightening. She broke down as I expected, but only told me my dad cheated. They tried to force me into family therapy and threatened to ground me for the entire summer if I didn't comply. The therapist allowed me to stay in the lobby while they talked, and I believe they talked them out of it. I have to go to the place with them, but I don't have to sit in the session if I don't want to. I talked to my grandparents about lying to me during the trip about no divorce happening, and they apologized and said they realize now that it wasn't the best approach. So we're good. I'm going to spend the next few weekends and summer with my grandparents. I don't even want to see my parents. Basically, all the secretive behavior, fighting, and shady stuff I noticed was real, and they've been lying to me for almost 2 years. Now I have to decide whether to expose them or not because really bad stuff is happening. The plan right now is to discuss with my rabbi about the ethics involved and then tell someone who can do something at least about the underage girl. The rest of it is awful, but that's the part that really needs to be stopped right now, I think. New post, legal question about anonymously reporting a crime. For the record, I'm under 18, so I'm sure that affects what I can and can't do here. This is something that needs to be handled by adults, but I would be reporting on a family member, so I need to protect myself from the fallout. A close adult family member is having sex with a minor. Not like a few years age difference thing, like decades. I know the right thing to do would be to report it, but I need to do it anonymously. I found out from texts that I have screenshots of. Is there a way I can get this information to the appropriate authorities without being identified? Would they even do anything with anonymously sent screenshots? How likely is it to be traced back to me once it's out in the open? Thanks in advance. Edit. The minor is 17 and this is in location removed. The older person is 17's coach. In the comments, location removed, age of consent is 18, meaning this sexual relationship wouldn't be legal in the first place. But the fact that the older adult is their coach probably makes it even worse. Law enforcement is who to contact about this. There is no guarantee of anonymity. While you can request that when you report it, and law enforcement would likely respect that, there are many ways someone can infer or merely guess at who reported something. How likely it is that this minor and/or this adult could guess it was you is unknown, though I'm not sure you should let that dissuade you. OP. Okay, thanks. I guess I was hoping that I could just get a burner and send an anonymous tip or something. It's going to get rough if they figure out it was me. I don't think they would be able to get that just from the screenshots. I'm more worried about the cops telling someone. If it has to happen that way, I guess that's what happens. My rabbi offered to contact someone he trusts from the police department and sat with us while I gave a statement yesterday. I gave him a thumb drive with the screens. It's all stuff that would be easy for them to go verify themselves anyway with a warrant or something like that. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's out of my hands now. He also gave me a number to call for help if things go sideways and I don't feel safe. So now I just hunker down and try not to think about it. Update. Things blew up this weekend. I wasn't home when everything happened, so I missed most of the fireworks, but I've gotten the story through family. My dad got suspended from his job Friday. The cops took him in. He's out now, but my grandparents told me that it's serious. Everyone in the family is all riled up, mostly at my dad. Apparently the word got out since he's a teacher and a coach, so it's a circus. My mom showed up to tell me what happened and take me to her place, but I told her I didn't want to go. My grandparents calmed her down, so I'm staying with them. I'm attending a different school, but they decided to keep me home today. I'm supposed to speak with some people later this morning and grab some clothes and essentials from the house. I haven't heard from my dad. My other grandma, his mom, visited yesterday, and I feel really bad for her. This is the saddest I've seen her since my grandpa passed away. No one seems to know that I reported it. I don't know what happened with the girl, but I'm guessing she admitted stuff was going on. I hope she's okay. I don't know where things go from here, but I've told all my grandparents that I don't want to live with mom. Staying with dad doesn't seem like an option right now, but I don't want to go there either. They said we would figure it out. I told my grandparents, mom's parents, last weekend that I don't think she's being honest with them, and they believe me. The cop I spoke with said that as long as I'm in a safe place with people watching out for me, it's not likely anyone will make me go back to my parents without a lot of legal wrangling. So as long as my grandparents are okay with it, I should be okay. I've got a summer job lined up, so I'm just going to focus on that and keep a low profile, I think. Save up everything I can. This whole situation is a mess, and I feel like I'm stuck in a nightmare a lot of the time, but I'm not sorry I found out the truth.